The story just sucks them in. And when they spurt out that joy juice, they just gotta sit in it. They can't move until they find out how the story ends. You know, I want to make a film like that. And I understand, you know, they have to make films. I made them myself, you know, that are a few laughs. Everybody fucks their brains out, and that's fine. That's my dream, to make a film that is true and right and dramatic.
The adult entertainment industry is one of the top grossing industries in the world, grossing close to $200 billion globally. For context, the worldwide film industry makes roughly $100 billion. In the 1970s, the industry had a golden age, where it became so popular, the infamous film Deep Throat grossed $600 million on its theatrical release, and the industry bled into mainstream cinema. But is it real cinema? Well, the answer isn't as easy as yes or no. It's a complex question with a complex answer. And to get there, we have to start right at the beginning of cinema itself. The 7-minute 1896 film Le Coucher de la Mare, directed by Albert Kirchner under the surname Lear, was the first adult movie ever. It was as simple as a woman disrobing. In the same year, the May Irwin kiss contained the first kiss on film. And then many studios across Europe followed the trend and released a number of similar movies. Most of them were short and on loop, with the content getting more raunchy as the years went by. It wasn't until 1910 that America really got involved. However, it was actually Argentina that was the birthplace of the first real hardcore movies that were made. Owing to strict censorship laws in France, Pathé and Gaumont moved their productions to Buenos Aires and began to ship films worldwide to wealthy citizens who specifically requested them. It is worth mentioning that Pathé and Gaumont are still two of the biggest film and distribution companies in the world for mainstream cinema. The Argentinian film La Satorio is allegedly known as the first real pornographic film. In the 1920s silent era of film, the popularity for these films grew hugely, with traveling salesmen selling them across the globe. However, anyone caught viewing or possessing them risked a prison sentence. And from there, the 30s and 40s saw an expansion in the industry. And in the 50s, home movies on 8mm began a new rage. However, the whole industry was still very hush-hush and frowned upon, much like the Prohibition era. That was until the 60s, dubbed the Decade of Love. Prolific director Doris Wishman began making a series of adult films that involved nudity and no intercourse. The term used for this was sexploitation movies. And with the 60s being an extremely important period for civil rights, human rights, and the concept of freedom itself, there was a change in social perceptions towards many previously frowned upon industries, and especially the adult industry. So much so that the Swedish film I Am Curious, which featured not just nudity, but also simulated sex scenes, was given a theatrical release in its home country, and then also across the world. And this included America. But in 1969, it was banned in Massachusetts for being pornographic. The ban was challenged in the courts, with the Supreme Courts of the United States ultimately declaring the film was not obscene. Much as how the industry began, Europe was at the forefront of change, not just in Sweden but also in Denmark, where in 1969 they abolished all censorship laws on pornographic films. This led to professional filmmakers making more adult films, and these films were distributed across the globe and especially to America. Even the world-famous artist Andy Warhol got in on the act, making the film Blue Movie. And all of these changes heralded the start of the golden era of adult movies. Warhol was particularly vocal about his film being pivotal in the making of the largely mainstream release Last Tango in Paris, starring Marlon Brando. Brando at the time was the biggest actor in the world, coming off the back of the release of the Godfather film in the year prior. The Bernardo Bertolucci-directed feature received an X rating from the MPAA, which is normally the death knell for any film. The film also had additional dialogue by the French New Wave legend Agnès Varda, and cinematography by the legendary Vittorio Storaro, which meant that in 1973, after nearly 100 years of adult-based films being marginalized, they finally had the gravitas they craved. An Oscar-winning lead actor, an Oscar-winning cinematographer, an Oscar-nominated director, and a French New Wave writer. And then things went absolutely crazy. Deep Throat, which was released a year before Last Tango in Paris, allegedly grossed $600 million, which adjusted for inflation would make it one of the top 10 grossing films of all time. The true life story of Deep Throat is a huge story itself, which I'll save for another video. If you're keen on knowing more, then check out the biopic of its leading actress, Linda Lovelace, in the film Lovelace, starring Amanda Seyfried. From here, the adult movie industry went on to another level commercially. The 1980s saw the advent of VHS and household names such as Tracy Lords. The 1990s saw the advent of the DVD and then the internet. And the growth of the industry was great for people making them, but awful for two things: the performers and the art form. By the 2000s, there were hundreds of adult film companies releasing tens of thousands of productions, recorded directly onto video with minimal sets, which later extended to webcams and camera phones. And as for the performers, in the past 10 years, there's been a huge increase in the number of well-known adult actors who have deceased due to health, drugs, or just strange unknown incidents. August Ames, Olive Nova, Bill Bailey, Sophia Leone, and many, many more. Deaths in the industry isn't new. It's been happening for many decades. The pressures and the conditions that the performers are asked to work in are not conducive to good mental health. But the real question posed at the top of this video: are adult films cinema?
I mean, there should be more to sex than a lot of little tingles. There should be bells ringing, dams bursting, bombs going off, something.
Well, the basics are a script, typically a 3-act structure, lights, sound, various shot structures to convey a message, editing, music. The exact same principles that are used in all films. However, the reason we had to go through the history of the industry is so that we can get an honest answer to the question. There was a point where, just like Jack Horner says in the film Boogie Nights, the industry wanted to create true art. And around about the early 70s is when you could successfully make a case for adult films being cinema. And there have been numerous films since then when adult films have spilled over into true cinema. Lars von Trier's The Idiots was nominated for a Palme d'Or at the 1988 Cannes Film Festival. Nymphomaniac, his 2014 film, premiered at the Berlin and Venice Film Festivals. And there have been many others, such as the aforementioned Boogie Nights, Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction, Kama Sutra, and the criminally underrated 1995 neo-thriller Jade, all of which border into the adult territory, as well as so many more. But since the advent of VHS, digital, DVD, and the internet, adult movies have strayed away from trying to be cinematic, instead looking to shoot cheap, quick, and spin a profit. With most films not adhering to the 3-act structure, proper lighting, sound, and so forth. And even celebrities hijacking the art form to make themselves famous. In fact, the industry is now almost even fully cinema verte, with many punters preferring to watch performers' real lives through methods such as OnlyFans and Twitch, which in a way is better for the performer's safety and finances. They now have the option of having full control. That dream that Jack Horner had, which in the film was shattered by the arrival of VHS, is now fully gone.
But I don't want to win an Oscar, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I like simple pleasures, like butter in my ass, lollipops in my mouth. That's just me. That's just something that I enjoy. Call me crazy, call me a pervert. But there's one little thing that I want to do in this life, and that is I want to make $1.01 in this business.
So, right now, no, adult film isn't cinema. But hey, Everyone loves a comeback.
Everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Seabiscuit, the Mighty Ducks,
Robert Downey Jr. Who
Rocky.
else? Yes.
Kim Kardashian.
Kim. Well,
Well, in the video, she gets cum on her back, I think.
Oh, they're gonna make the rap party. Oh my God.